Hello, students. So, today we are going to have another lecture of our English communication, which is related to speaking. So, in this lecture, we are going to talk about how our speaking is going to be very effective, to which we can say that it is going to be our effective conversation. So, let's first try to understand what do we mean by speaking, or when we say that it is effective conversation. Speaking, we all know that when we are trying to exchange our ideas, thoughts, or knowledge and information for the purpose that our intention is fulfilled in a best possible manner. Whatever we are trying to communicate, that the other person is understanding, that is speaking effectively. We have to understand that whenever we are speaking, there has to be the better way is that we are having our face to face interaction because it always clarifies any misunderstandings or miscommunications. Let's try to elaborate it more with the meaning that sometimes in a speaking, we sometimes do misspell some things or we do not speak appropriately. Uh, or sometimes there is a conversation in such a way that the other person is not comfortable with what we spoke. So we have to always be transparent in admitting our mistakes because whenever we are admitting our mistakes, it is building the strong relationship with our co-workers and with our colleagues. We always have to consider that communication is a two-way street. We cannot be doing like this that, okay, we are just talking, and there's no feedback which is coming from the other side. In the last lecture, one of our lectures, we talked about the communication. When we were talking about the introduction of communication, we said this thing that in communication, we have to always see that one is sender, another one is receiver, and we always wait for the feedback to make the communication effective. So we have to see that the same principle is being followed when we're talking about speaking also. Uh, the speech can be divided into three forms. First one is a formal speech. So, formal speech is basically used for the situations where we are having the serious communication. Now, serious, what do we mean by serious communication? Is like when we are um, having a job interview or when we are talking very professionally to in any of the offices. So, any academic presentation also you can take an example of. So, these are the ways like when we are more formal with a speech. But have you ever noticed when we are talking with our friends, with our peers, how relaxed we are? So that is considered as the informal speech. That is an intimate sort of speech in which we are using very casual language. We are not very formally even dressed up. We do not bother that what we are saying. We are using slangs and that informal pattern of communication. So that is an informal speech. And yes, we do have the neutral speech also, which is related to sometimes we talk about the reviews and articles. So these are the basic three forms of speech. Now we have to understand what are the factors which are affecting our speech. See, first one is a posture. If we see almost 55% of the attention is being paid to when we are talking about your body, and next thing is being attention is being paid to your words, what you're speaking. So the body language has to be proper when you are speaking to someone. Like if you are just talking something with a crossed legs and crossed hands in the pocket, it will not give you the other person a very open way of listening to you. Then also the attention to center of gravity. Like if you're talking with your feet little bit wide open, it will give you more confidence while talking. And we have to use the wider range of voice also when we are talking and try to change the tone when you're talking so that it shouldn't look very monotonous. And yes, deep breathing is something which makes you relaxed also before starting your conversation. We can practice these things. Now, there are certain factors which influence the way you speak. Setting, if you are talking in a room which is very noisy or in adjacent room, lot of noise is coming, or the windows are open, certain factors are there which are hampering the other person to listen to you. So, this thing is going to influence. You will not be able to attract the people with your speech if the setting is not conducive. The topic has to be of interest to the audience, definitely, and if you're having good relationship with your audience, and sometimes it is a very formal way of speaking where you do not have that much cordial relationship with your audience, but in that way you can always build up with the starting of the conversation. When you're starting, you can make the audience quite little bit of friendly with you so that this social relationship point is taken care of and the audience becomes acceptable to what you're saying. The attitude. See, the attitude, I will try to interact with this thing listening also. We need to have the proper listening skills also when we are trying to speak. If you're having this attitude that I know what he's going to say. So that type of attitude is not good. So when you are speaking, you should have the proper listening skills also so that you can respond in a better way. And language you have to be careful of. You should have the wider range of vocabulary when you are talking. Now, in this chapter of speaking, if we talk about the communication book in English, then it is having very small, little things related to how we are using this speaking in a different day-to-day lives, in our hospital settings, in our like the talking with a peer group. So we are just very briefly going to touch each and every aspect what is there in speaking. So then we are having greetings and introduction. What do we mean by greeting? Whenever like a teacher is coming to your class, you are wishing the teacher good morning, good afternoon. That is a sort of greeting, and that is we can say it is a formal way of greeting. So another thing, what like if you want to extend your greeting way is you can say good morning, how are you, how the day was. So this is a formal way of greeting. After greeting, sometimes we give introduction also, like uh, good afternoon. I'm a teacher by profession. I work in Mount Carmel School. So this is how we join these two things, greetings and introduction. Next thing is regarding the asking and giving permissions. This thing is also we are using in our day-to-day conversations, in our educational institutes, offices, workplaces. That is why we are going to talk about the formal way of requests. And this formal way, it is a polite form of what we are going to talk about here is polite form of requesting. Like we are going to start with this. Do you mind if, would you mind if, may I? Like, do you mind if I sit next to you? Would you mind if I close the window? May I open the door? So this is when you are asking for permission in a very formal way. So it is a request. And how the other person should respond in a formal way? No, not at all. No, not at all means when you're saying, do you mind if I keep my books on your table? The answer can be no, not at all, which means that I will not mind if you keep your books here. And yes, you may. If you're asking something, may I open the door? The other person is responding in a very formal way, politely. Yes, you may. Yes, of course. So these are the formal way of responding to the requests. Another thing is when you are asking and giving the permissions. So this is also like the same way the examples we have quoted over here is like, do you mind if I keep my books here? This is just not what we saw. No, not at all. Keep them anywhere. May I put my bag in your cupboard? The response can be yes, you may, indeed. So this way we can have the formal conversation with our co-workers and in education institutions also. So after the formal, now this is the casual conversation. Casual conversation is what we are going to have with the peer groups, with the friends, with the relatives. We are using very easy body language. We are not trying to figure out the words what we're going to use. So that is, we can use more of the idioms or we can use the slang language also. So that is the casual conversation. Sometimes we need to ask for the information. Now, how we are going to ask for the for the information? Let's say that you want to ask regarding the cost of something. So like you can see the example over here. You're asking what is the cost of this umbrella. Now, when you're asking this information in a very professional way from your colleagues, you're asking something, then you have to use this structure. Pardon me, excuse me, like this. So example can be, can you tell me when the bus arrives? Pardon me, could you tell me how much the ticket costs? So this is a very formal way of asking the information. So this is what students we are doing is we are touching the topics in a very brief way, which are there in our like speaking chapter. Another thing is giving directions and instructions. Sometimes, you are going on the way and you are not reaching your place. You want to reach to any of the temples or let's say any of the movie hall, but you're not able to find the way and you ask someone. You can ask like certain questions. For example, how do I get to the supermarket? Where is the nearest playground? Can you tell me the way to Sukna Lake? So this is how you ask. But how we can tell about the directions? How you can tell about the directions is like this is just one example which has been quoted over here. Like the giving directions means we can say continue straight ahead for about 2 kilometers and then take a left or right at the junction, cross the bus stand and you are there. So this way we are talking about, let's say when we are talking about cross the bus stand. So these are the things cross the temple, cross the government school. These are considered as important landmarks. Whenever we are giving directions, we have to see that what we are telling. Going straight, take first left, take second right, move past the important landmark what you're having, a temple, a gurudwara. So this way we are giving the directions to the other person. Now here we are going to talk about certain useful verbs which we are using for the instructions. These are the important verbs which we are using in our conversations daily. So I'm just mentioning few of them, like turn on, switch on, which means that we are activating power or electricity. Turn on the television. And when we want to switch off, turn off or switch off. Take off and take out, students, we have to remember when we're talking about taking off, it means you are detaching something for another thing. But taking out means you're taking one thing out from the other. For example, taking the mobile phone out of the cover. This is taking out. This is not taking off. Like taking off can be, like the example it is mentioned, taking off the raincoat before entering the house, taking off the slippers before entering the bedroom, like that. Attach means when you're putting two things together. Checking means when you're making sure. Please make sure that lights are off. So this is like what we mentioned, the important verbs which we are using in our day-to-day lives, like proceed when you are uh, giving some presentation, teacher stops you in between and give you some instructions that how you should go. And then she says, okay, proceed, which means you are continuing to do the thing what you are doing before. So these are certain useful verbs. And now, next thing is, when somebody is talking something and you want to express your agreement or disagreement to that thing. Let's say that if somebody is telling you that, okay, let's go to the picnic tomorrow. If you have to show your agreement on that, you can uh, choose. Like you can say, absolutely, I totally agree, exactly, me too. So these are the expressions when you want to show your agreement. Okay, I couldn't agree more. No doubt about it. You have a point there. I was just going to say that. So in these statements, you can see we are showing our agreement. How we can show our disagreement? Let's say, take the same example that let's go to the picnic tomorrow. Disagreement. I don't think so. I don't agree. No way. Absolutely not. I beg to differ. Not necessarily. So this is how we can express our disagreement. Now, another thing is that when you want to give your opinion on something, you want to give your opinion on, let's say, on any of the things which is going on in your family, anywhere. So how you can do that? When you want to give your strong opinion about something, you can say that I'm absolutely convinced. See, you have to use these strong words. I'm sure. I strongly believe that the classes should be conducted every day. So this is a strong way of expressing your opinion. I have no doubt that this teacher teaches so well. So you are giving your opinion in very strong manner. Whereas when it is not so strong, you can use this thing like, I think that she is good enough. I feel that, in my opinion, classes should be taken daily. So this is not a very strong way of expressing your opinion. So opinion, what do we mean by basically opinion is when you give your opinion, you say that you think, feel or believe about something or somebody. You can always enhance it by adding the reason to that, but that is not always required. Next, now sometimes we have to describe the person. You see in the movies, sometimes they say that, okay, tell about how that person looks like. So that is about the description. Whenever you have to describe a person to someone, you can talk about the age of the person, height, weight, face, general appearance, how the person walks, um, what about the hair of the person, like what the dress what the person was wearing. This is how you describe the person. But how you have to describe the event. Sometimes as a student, you have to describe, let's say that you paid a visit to any plant or an industrial visit, an educational visit. So you have to describe out that event. What you do in that? Okay, you would talk about that on which day that event took place, what was the venue, at what time you went, what was the importance of that event in general, okay, what various activities took place at that site, okay, and if anything related to that, like you smelled, tasted, or heard. So these things you mention when you are describing an event. But how you are describing about the places, that also is done. Like, for example, where you um, went. Was it a museum, a temple, a palace, a gallery? What was that? Okay, was it a historical place? when it was built, its structure, its present state, where it is a town, hill station, where it is situated, what it is known for, etc. So this is how you describe about a particular place. Now, we should understand what is the meaning of narration. When we're talking about this chapter speaking, we should know that narration is a skill which is coming under the communication only. It is a method of communication in which you talk about your social as well as professional life. And here we should remember that we are mostly talking in the past tense. In the narration, one should be able to tell or write effectively what happened. So, this is about narrating an event, narrating an incident. This is what we do in narration. Then, your next very small topic is related to evaluating and comparing. What do we mean by evaluating? When you are drawing your conclusion after examination, that is evaluating. But comparing means when you are assessing the similarities and dissimilarities or differences between two or more things, that is comparing. So we should not get confused that what do we mean by evaluating and what do we mean by comparing. Next, your subtopic is related to complaints and suggestions. So this is also sometimes we do if you're sitting in a class, your fan is not working, there is some problem in the electricity, you have to complain, okay, or you have to give your suggestions on something. So this is like we are going to see that how you are going to complain. Whenever you're going to make a complaint, you have to remember that we are having 3 steps. That is, firstly, we are going to explain the problem. That okay, in our classroom, the fan is not working from last 2 days. And sometimes to elaborate it more, to have more effect, you can always state your feeling that it is really very difficult to sit in the class from last 2 days when the fan is not working. And then you are asking from the appropriate agency that what action you're expecting them to take. So this is how you are complaining. And then yes, you can always suggest also. Suggestion means you're telling another person what you think that should be done. So in this suggestion, we are generally talking about this modal should. Subject should work. Like you should brush. So this is a suggestion. But when there is if you want to really have, want to make a stronger impact, then this should is replaced with need. Okay? Isha needs to brush. So this is going to put a stronger impact. Now then, next subtopic is delivering a presentation. This is what, as a student, we do it. Okay? We always are given the presentations to be delivered in the class. How we are delivering the presentation, taking the time to prepare your presentation, and wherever you are going to present, you are going to dress appropriately for that. You shouldn't be wearing such type of clothes that your attention is being spent on, just adjusting your clothes or paying more attention to what you're wearing. And try to arrive before the time. Like if it is 9 a.m., you're supposed to arrive, try to reach by around 8:45 so that you are familiar with the like the situation, you're familiar with the audience and your anxiety gets reduced. And try to meet the moderator and try to handle any queries if they are beforehand. And always have a plan if the technology fails. Let's say that you have mailed your presentation somewhere, try to carry it in your pen drive. Okay, try to have in your mail as well. So any alternative things we should be having in our hand that if the technology fails. Greet the audience and start with a smile so that you are accepted. And then, yes, this thing is never eat or chew gum. It really looks very unprofessional when we're doing it. And try to make your presentation more interactive. During your this thing, educational, the whole tenure, I think you would have experienced this thing. If someone is just talking, and not interacting with you, it becomes very boring class, I would say. And monotonous things are never appreciated. So try to make your presentation more interactive, involve the group in that. Be calm, slow, and clear so that you are understood by the group. Use your voice effectively by changing the tone and have a good body language, which we had already talked about, not showing this thing that, okay, hunch shoulders and using like presenting with the hands crossed, hands in the pocket. So, this is not the acceptable way of presenting. Now, lastly, students, we are going to talk about the telephonic conversation. Um, Telephonic conversation is also something new which has been added to our curriculum because in our hospitals also, whenever we have to give any message to someone or receive any message of someone, telephone is a very basic medium, and we should know that how effectively we are using this conversation. always when we're using this telephonic conversation, when we're talking on the phone, always try to introduce yourself. Let's say that from the emergency department, you're calling to the ICU. So you're going to introduce yourself that you're so and so calling from the emergency department. And if you're at the receiving end, you have to use the polite questions. May I know who's talking? And if you have to, you do not have that person, concerned person over there, you can always tell the person who's on the call that, hold on, I'll be transferring your call to the concerned person. So very politely we have to say. Or if that person is not available, like for whom the call was meant for, then you can tell to the caller that, okay, please leave the message. You will be passing on this message to Dr. Rakesh and he will get back to you by 3 p.m. So this is how you are making the telephonic conversation. And when we talk about telephonic conversation, we can have these of two types, formal and informal. Formal is like the example which I gave you. In a very formal way, we are talking, it is a professional way of communication. Whereas informal, I need not to explain you. All of you are using your telephones on the daily basis, talking to your friends, your family members. The way you talk, that is the informal way of conversating. You are using the slangs, idioms. So that is the informal telephonic conversation. So with this, students, we have basically tried to cover the subtopics which are there in your speaking and effective conversation. Thank you. Catch you soon again.